If you didn't subscribe our channel yet, please subscribe our channel, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get our latest updates. Top 20 Most Famous Cold Cases That Are Still Unsolved. Not much is scarier than crimes that go unsolved, murderers and kidnappers on the loose with police efforts leading nowhere. These are cases of vanished children, bodies found in mysterious circumstances, and serial killers who disappear back into society. As time goes on, these cases get colder and colder and the shroud of mystery thicker. Number 1, Crime Spree Terrorizes East London. One of the most notorious unsolved crime sprees in history goes to Jack the Ripper. The identity of the killer who terrified East London in 1888 remains a mystery to this day. Many have speculated on who exactly the killer of 5 women in the Whitechapel area of London was, but no one has solved it and probably never will. Number 2, Cold Case Cryptic Messages Taunt North California. In July 1969 a letter arrived at the San Francisco Examiner with a mysterious coded message, marking the beginning of the terrifying spree of the serial killer named the Zodiac Killer. Officially connected to 5 murders and 2 attempted murders, the Zodiac terrorized North California and taunted the police and the public with his bizarre letters containing cryptic ciphers. In the late 1970s his letters stopped and the Zodiac Killer vanished without a trace. Number 3, Mystery Boy Found in Cardboard Box. In 1957 a grisly discovery was made that to this day still has police and the public stumped. The body of a young boy was found hidden in a cardboard box in a Philadelphia neighborhood. The boy, believed to be 4 to 6 years old, was never identified, despite tireless searches and appeals to the public. Tests found he was malnourished and abused, leading to theories that he was an abandoned orphan. No one knows who the boy was or how he ended up in the box. 4. Shooting Rocks Music Industry. On September 7, 1996, Tupac Shakur was shot 4 times in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas, and died 6 days later. Police looked into many suspects, one being alleged Crips member Orlando Anderson, but Anderson was later killed in an unrelated shooting. Tupac's murder has become legendary and many conspiracy theories abound. The most notable one is that he's not really dead. However, Tupac's murder remains one of the most high-profile unsolved cases in music history. 5. Child Beauty Pageant Queen's Death a Mystery. JonBenet Ramsey, a 6-year-old beauty pageant queen, was found murdered in her Boulder, Colorado home the day after Christmas in 1996. The investigation first centered on her parents but they were exonerated after DNA evidence collected from the scene was from an unrelated male. In 2006, John Mark Carr was arrested after he allegedly confessed to the murder. However, DNA tests failed to link him to the case. The murder still remains unsolved to this day. 6. Grisly Axe Murders Never Solved. Andrew and Abby Borden were found hacked to death by an axe in the summer of 1892 in their Fall River, Massachusetts home. Their daughter, Lizzie Borden, was charged but later acquitted of the gruesome murders. This cold case, with numerous theories, movies, TV shows and even a children's nursery rhyme about it, has endured and the mystery of who wielded the axe that fateful day has never been proven. 7. Elvis fans' murderer remains at large. Avid Elvis Presley fans Barbara and Patricia Grimes begged their mother to allow them to take a short bus trip to see Presley's first movie on December 28, 1956. The Chicago teens, 15 and 13 years old, never made it home. About a month later, a construction worker in Willow Springs, Illinois discovered the frozen bodies of the teenagers in a ditch, thereby putting an end to the high-profile missing persons case. Police traced several suspects but they were all eventually ruled out and the Grimes sisters' case went cold. 8. Girls' Unsolved Abduction Leads to Alert System. On January 13, 1996, Amber Hagerman, 9, was snatched off her bicycle in a grocery store parking lot in Arlington, Texas. Police had only an eyewitness account of a blue pickup truck driving away from the scene. Despite national attention, media coverage and thousands of anonymous tips called in, a dog walker found Hagerman's body 5 days later floating in a creek with her throat slit. No one has ever been caught for the abduction and murder of Amber. It was this case that launched the Amber Alert system, which is now a North American-wide coordinated system that warns the public when a child goes missing. 9. No leads in Quebec girl's disappearance. Just 9 years old, Cédrica Provencher vanished while riding her bike in Trois-Rivières, Quebec, on July 31, 2007. Reportedly she was approached by a man who asked her to search for his lost dog. Despite a province-wide search, it wasn't until 2015 that Cédrica's remains were found by hunters in the woods just outside of town. With no good leads and no arrests, this case remains in Canada's cold case files. 10. Tylenol murders spark fear in Chicago. In 1982, 6 adults and 1 child died in Chicago after taking Tylenol laced with potassium cyanide. Police were baffled as the pills came from different factories and were purchased in different drug stores in the city. No motive was ever determined and the person responsible hasn't been found, but the tampering of the bottles led to the introduction of tamper-proof seals in the pharmaceutical industry. 11. Australia's most infamous disappearance case still unsolved. On Australia Day in 1966, the 3 Beaumont children, Jane, Arna, and Grant, took the bus from their home to Glenelg Beach in Adelaide, Australia. Hours later their parents reported them missing, sparking one of the largest police investigations in the history of Australia. The 3 children, aged 9, 7 and 4, were never found and their disappearance remains one of the country's most infamous mysteries. 12. Hollywood drowning death shrouded in mystery. The 1981 drowning death of Natalie Wood remains one of Hollywood's darkest mysteries. The 43-year-old actress and her husband, Robert Wagner, were on their yacht anchored off Catalina Island when Wood reportedly drowned. The actress, who was afraid of dark water, was found floating face down about a mile away from the yacht. Her death, and the mystery surrounding it, sent shockwaves through Hollywood. The chain of events that led to her death that night remains unsolved. 13. British girl goes missing in Portugal. It remains one of the world's most covered, and most famous, missing persons cases, that of 3-year-old British girl Madeleine McCann. McCann went missing from her family's holiday apartment in Algarve, Portugal in May 2007. Her parents, having left for dinner, returned at 10 p.m. to find her missing. There has been much speculation and millions of dollars poured into the search for Madeleine, but the trail remains cold to this day. 14. FBI's most wanted hijacker never found. In 1971, an unknown man boarded a commercial Boeing 727 under a fake name, claimed to have a bomb, demanded $200,000 in cash and then parachuted into thin air over southwestern Washington state. Known as D.B. Cooper, he remains the most notorious plane hijacker in U.S. history. Cooper has never been found despite the FBI looking at over 1,000 suspects. 15. Torso murderer terrorizes Cleveland. One of the most notorious serial killers in American history was the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run. Between 1935 and 1938, 12 victims, only 2 of whom were identified, were found dumped in a creek bed in an area of Cleveland, Ohio known as Kingsbury Run. The bodies were often headless and limbless. It was the most gruesome murder spree in Cleveland's history and one in which the killer was never caught. 16. Vanished women still stump police. In the summer of 1992, Cheryl Levitt, her daughter Susie Streeter, and friend Stacy McCall vanished from a Springfield, Missouri home. All 3 of their cars were parked outside and their purses and keys were still inside the home. With a lack of evidence, no verifiable sign of foul play and no suspects, the Springfield Threes case has gone cold. 17. Vanished labor leader remains cold case. It's become the stuff of urban legends. An infamous labor leader, with links to the mob, who spent time in prison, vanishes. Jimmy Hoffa, once president of America's largest union, disappeared on July 30, 1975 from a Detroit area restaurant. Despite renewed efforts in 2006, Hoffa's body was never found and no one is sure what exactly happened to him. 18. Mystery man remains cold case for decades. In December 1948 a man's body was found on a beach near Adelaide, South Australia. Named the Somerton Man for the beach he was found on, he was well dressed and had no identification on him. The only clue, a piece of paper rolled up in his pants pocket with the words "To Mom Shoot," Persian for "It is ended." Police have never been able to identify the mystery man, how he died, or how he ended up on the beach. 19. Guerrilla researchers murder still unsolved. In December of 1985, Diane Fossey, a famous American primatologist, was murdered in Rwanda. Fossey's body was found in her cabin, having been hacked to death with a machete. Although her cabin had been ransacked, no belongings had been stolen. Many people think Fossey was killed by the guerrilla poachers she fought against, while others believe local gold smugglers were responsible. Either way, her murder remains unsolved, but she is remembered for the major impact of her work on the recovery of the mountain gorilla population. 20. Unsolved murder shocks Hollywood. Dubbed the Black Dahlia due to her rumored love of sheer black clothes, young Elizabeth Short was found murdered in the middle of an LA street. The Hollywood hopeful's body was sliced in half at the waist and posed in such a way that she appeared to be a mannequin. An ensuing manhunt, which included a mystery letter possibly sent by the killer, turned up nothing. Despite public speculation and rumors, the murderer was never caught.